Okay, so be honest with me. How many times have you sat down at your computer this week, opened your email, and then just stared?
Oh, the screen stare. I know it well.
Right. You know you have to send the email. It's not even a hard email. It's like, yes, Tuesday works. But you physically cannot make your fingers hit the keys. You feel sort of paralyzed.
And then the spiral starts. You immediately start telling yourself you're lazy or, disorganized or you've lost your edge.
Exactly. Do you call it executive dysfunction? That's the buzzword, right?
Yeah.
This idea that our internal manager is just broken. But what if it's not us?
That is the central question we're tackling today. What if that paralysis you're feeling isn't some kind of personal failure, but a structural necessity?
We are doing a deep dive into this fascinating and frankly kind of mind-bending essay by Jaime Hoerricks, PhD. It has possibly the most intimidating title I have ever seen.
It really does.
Executive Functioning, Relativity at the Kitchen Table.
It sounds like you've walked into the wrong lecture hall, doesn't it? Like we're about to do advanced calculus or something.
Yeah, I saw relativity and kitchen table, and I thought, okay, is this about, like, cooking, or is this about black holes? And the answer, it seems, is both, but mostly about why I'm so tired.
It's a socioeconomic analysis that uses physics metaphors to explain modern burnout. And the core argument is that we aren't suffering from a lack of willpower. We're suffering from high gravity.
High gravity, I love that image. But before we get to the physics, and we will need to unpack that slowly for my sake, let's start with the kitchen table part. Because Hoerricks starts this whole thing by looking at, well, furniture.
She does. She sets the scene right away. She says she's writing at a kitchen table, but then she immediately stops herself and asks if such a table still exists.
Like, it's such a weird question. I mean, I have a table. It's covered in junk mail and, unwashed mugs, but it's there.
But does it function as a table? In the way she remembers it? She takes us back to her youth to explain what that table used to represent. And this is where we have to be a little careful, because she brings up the idea of the stay-at-home mom.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. And my alarm bells went off a little. I was worried this was going to be one of those trad wife manifestos,
Right, about how everything was better back then.
Yeah, and I am not signing up for that deep dive.
No, and Hoerricks anticipates that reaction. She says very explicitly, look, this isn't a political talking point from the frightened far right. She's not saying we should go back socially.
Okay.
She's asking us to look at the economics of that era. She calls that dynamic the ordinary furniture of life.
Ordinary furniture, so not a political stance, just the default setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker, the part that really hurts to read in 2024. She says that back then, a single income could hold a modest house the way a bowl holds light.
The way a bowl holds light, that is. It's undeniably pretty, but it also feels a bit flowery for an economics discussion, doesn't it? Yeah. Is she romanticizing things?
It sounds flowery, but think about the physics of it. A bowl contains something without crushing it. It holds it gently. She's arguing that one income was mathematically sufficient for a car, a holiday, a roof, and most importantly, margin.
Margin. That's the word that stuck out to me.
Margin for boredom, margin for board games.
I don't think I've been bored since maybe 2009. I actually panic if I have 3 minutes of downtime. I just immediately reach for my phone.
And that's the lack of margin. She says that in that older economic model,
Yes.
and she's clear, it was flawed. She says the exclusions were real. There was a commons of time, a space where love could loiter without asking permission.
Love could loiter. I love that phrase. Now love needs a Google Calendar invite. Like, hey, do you have 15 minutes to be loved on Thursday at 4 p.m.?
And if you're late, the window closes. That is the contrast she's setting up. She's not saying, let's go back to the 1950s social structure. She's asking, where did the margin go?
So if the past was a bowl holding light, what's the present? Because her description of the now feels less like a bowl and more like, I don't know, a vice.
It's stark. She says for most households now, 2 full wages are the absolute minimum just to keep the roof from filing complaints.
Filing complaints. That's such a great personification. It makes your own home feel like this hostile entity, like a landlord that lives inside your walls.
It reframes home from an asset to a liability. It's just a mouth you have to keep feeding. And this pressure changes the most basic biological choices. She talks about family planning.
Yeah, the arithmetic of having children. I hear this from friends all the time. It's not we don't want kids. It's we did the math and we just can't afford the extra bedroom.
Precisely. She argues people aren't making these lifestyle choices in a vacuum. They're doing survival math. And then she looks at how we make the money, the nature of work itself.
This is where we get into the gig economy,
Right, the constellation of gigs, side hustles, and opportunities.
which is how it's always pitched, isn't it? Be your own boss. Hustle, grind.
Mm.
It's supposed to be empowering.
But Hoerricks rips the mask off that pretty brutally. She points out that so many of these opportunities are just data harvesting schemes wearing friendly fonts.
Friendly fonts. I actually laughed out loud at that because I know exactly what she means. You know those apps? They're always bright pink or like a soft teal with that bubbly rounded text. It looks like a cartoon.
So cute. And meanwhile, it's paying you $4 an hour to drive your own car into the ground.
Right. Hi. Welcome. Here's a smiley face. Now go build IKEA furniture for 3 hours for the price of a sandwich.
It is extraction wrapped in a user-friendly interface. And she mentions ghost jobs, too, which adds this whole other layer of exhaustion.
Okay, wait. Explain ghost jobs for anyone lucky enough not to be on LinkedIn right now.
A ghost job is a listing for a position that doesn't actually exist. The company isn't hiring. They just keep the ad up to, harvest resumes or make their investors think they're growing.
Or to keep their current employees scared and working harder. Because, look, we're looking for your replacement.
Exactly. It's diabolical. So you have people spending hours and hours tailoring cover letters, doing that whole emotional song and dance of maybe this is the one, and there's no one on the other end.
It's just a void. That contribute to that paralysis we started with. Why would you expend executive function on an application that is literally a black hole?
And speaking of black holes, Hoerricks argues our actual homes have become what she calls extraction sites.
Yes, she lists all the ways money is just siphoned from us. Algorithmic pricing for bread and milk, subscriptions for everything.
The subscription one really hit home. I looked at my bank statement the other day and realized I pay a subscription for a meditation app. That stresses me out because I get notifications telling me I'm not relaxing enough.
You're renting your own peace of mind. Hoerricks mentions this dystopian list. Subscriptions for heat, for light, and for the right to listen to our own music.
That is so true. I don't own my albums anymore. I pay Spotify a monthly ransom. If I stop paying, the music just stops.
Silence has a price tag. And this gets us to the core of her argument. If the home is an extraction site, and work is a data scheme, and all our free time is gone, why does it feel so physically heavy?
This is the relativity part. This is where we need the PhD.
Okay, so Hoerricks decides to, rewrite Einstein's theory of relativity?
Move, right.
Very bold.
So we all know the famous equation, E equals mc squared, energy equals mass times the speed of light squared.
Note from T-shirts, yeah. Sort of get it. Mass stuff can turn into a huge amount of energy if you speed it up enough.
Roughly, yes. Now, Hoerricks swaps the variables. In her version, mass is industrial capitalism.
Okay, so the stuff, the mass, is the entire economic system.
Exactly. And energy. That becomes burnout, or that crushing weight we all feel.
Okay, so capitalism turns into burnout. But what's the C? What's the speed of light in this metaphor?
She replaces C with chrono.
Chronos.
That's Greek, right? Yes. The Greeks had 2 words for time. Chronos is one of them. Chronos is clock time. It's sequential, it's quantitative, it's the ticking second hand, the schedule, the 9:00 a.m. meeting.
So the formula is the massive weight of capitalism multiplied by the speed of the clock squared.
Exactly. And because it's squared, the impact is exponential. She's saying that when you take a really heavy system like capitalism and you just accelerate the pace of life, Chronos, the result is this massive explosion of pressure.
Okay, so this is why she's talking about gravity.
Yes. Think about the movie Interstellar. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, where they go to the water planet near the black hole, and 1 hour there is like 7 years back on Earth.
Right, because the gravity of that black hole is so immense, it actually warps time and space. It makes just moving incredibly difficult. Hoerricks is saying our economy has become so massive, so heavy, that it's creating a similar gravitational field. We are living in high gravity.
That makes so much sense with the paralysis feeling. If gravity is twice as strong, just standing up takes twice the energy.
Exactly. Sending that simple email feels like lifting a 50-pound weight because you are doing it inside a high-gravity system. She uses the term accretion disk.
Okay, break down accretion disk for me.
In astrophysics, an accretion disk is that swirling ring of hot gas and matter spinning around a black hole right before it falls in. It's moving incredibly fast, it's incredibly hot, and it's basically a death spiral.
And We are in the disk.
We are in the disk. We're all just spinning around the drain of this massive economic black hole, and this explains why just working harder doesn't work.
Because you're literally fighting physics.
She writes that breaking free from this pull requires more thrust than 3 jobs can provide.
3 jobs. That's the escape velocity.
Effectively, yeah. If you have 1 job, or even 2, the gravity is still stronger than your engine. You just get pulled back in.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
But it also explains why everyone I know feels like they're treading water while they're drowning. She has an astronaut analogy for this too, doesn't she?
She does. She describes the people she loves moving from pay packet to pay packet like astronauts rationing oxygen.
Oof. Rationing oxygen. That is hard.
It changes how you see a paycheck, doesn't it? It's not a reward. It's just a canister of air that buys you another month of life. And this creates what she calls the gratitude trap.
The gratitude trap.
Yeah.
Is that when your boss tells you to be thankful you even have a job while also making you work all weekend?
Essentially. She writes that we become grateful for each employer as though thanking the tide for not drowning them today.
Thanking the tide for not drowning you. That is such a dark image. Because the tide doesn't care about you at all. It's just a force of nature.
And if you're busy thanking the tide for not killing you, you don't have the mental space to ask why you're stuck in the ocean in the first place. You certainly don't have the energy to build a boat.
This connects right back to the executive functioning thing. If I'm an astronaut rationing my oxygen, of course I can't focus on my special interests or hobbies. I'm just trying to breathe.
And that leads to the biggest loss of all. We talked about Chronos, the clock time. But remember I said the Greeks had 2 words for time.
What's the other one?
Kairos.
Kairos. Okay, and what does that mean?
Kairos is the opportune moment. It's qualitative, not quantitative. It's the time that feels like time. The moment the sun hits the trees just right. The deep conversation that makes you forget to look at your phone. It's flow state.
So Chronos is 4:00 p.m. and Kairos is this is a beautiful afternoon.
Yes, perfectly put. A kairos is where life actually happens. It's that loitering love she mentioned earlier. But Hoerricks argues that inside the accretion disk, inside this high-gravity capitalism, kairos gets crushed.
Because Kairos needs space.
It needs that margin. Kairos is inefficient. Play is inefficient. Staring out the window is inefficient. And in a system obsessed with speed, with Chronos, inefficiency is a sin.
She has this line about the slow intelligence of play. I really like that. We're so obsessed with being smart and fast. Fast answers, quick replies.
But real intelligence, real creativity is slow. It meanders. And we've lost the right to meander. She points out that even our intimacy has become bureaucratic.
The visas. This was the part that just made me sad.
Tell me about it.
She says our family schedules have become like borders. And that visiting the people you love requires visas signed by spreadsheets that never learn to hug.
I feel that in my bones. Trying to see my best friend requires a doodle poll, 3 weeks of lead time, and a confirmation text the day of. It feels like applying for a visa.
And think about the energy that takes. That's administrative labor. So even your time off, your social life, is actually just more work. You're working to schedule the time to relax.
Which completely defeats the purpose of relaxing.
Exactly.
Relativity becomes survival under Chronos. We're just watching the clock, trying to beat the clock until we finally run out of time.
So if we loop this all the way back to the beginning, the executive dysfunction, the staring at the screen.
It's not you.
Say that again for the people in the back.
It is not you. You are not broken. You are trying to move normally in an environment with, like, Jupiter-level gravity. Of course you're tired. Of course you feel paralyzed. The physics of your world are designed to crush the kitchen table.
The table, the place where we just sit and talk and exist, has been sold off for parts.
And replaced by a subscription service for a virtual table.
Oh, God, don't give them ideas. Table is a service.
But seriously, naming the gravity is the first step. If you know you're in an accretion disk, you can stop blaming yourself for feeling dizzy.
It validates the struggle. We're not crazy for missing the margin. We're not lazy for finding it hard to breathe.
And it challenges us to fight for those little pockets of kairos, to steal that time back.
I guess that's the mission, right? To find a way to loiter, even if the world wants you to run.
To let love hang around without needing a calendar invite, even for 5 minutes.
So here's the thought we want to leave you with today. And it's a heavy one, but I think it's important.
We've talked about the thrust of 3 jobs. We've talked about the home as an extraction site.
The question is, have we unknowingly traded our kairos, those moments that actually make life worth living, just to pay for the clocks that are enslaving us.
Are we working to live, or are we just working to keep the watch battery running?
Something to think about the next time you're staring at that friendly font on your phone. Thanks for taking this deep dive into relativity with us.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time. And hey, go find some margin today.
Yeah, even if you have to steal it.
Just a little bit. Bye, everyone.